Beloved the world over, Final Fantasy X is a great jumping-in point for those new to the FF series. Rendered in full 3D and featuring voice acting for the first time, it also offers new players a battle system that's easy to get to grips with, and an enthralling storyline that's stuck with us for all the right reasons. An isekai story at its core, set in a visually stunning world, FF10 turns the fish out of water concept on its head by giving us a sports jock in the place of Dorothy, a crew who wants for love and brains in equal measure, and a big blue cowardly lion. I'm Jecht from EXP Required, revisiting Spira with 7 reasons why Final Fantasy X is great. Beware of spoilers ahead. Sure, previous Final Fantasy games all have their dynamic and exciting introductions, but there's nothing quite as explosive as a giant whale invading a stadium in the middle of a championship game. Our first look at this new world shows off Square's newly developed 3D capabilities in the flashiest way possible, with the PS2's graphical power a notable step up from anything they created before. The water alone is enough to have our jaws dropping, and the scale of Zanarkand is like nothing we've seen before, even before Sin appears to show it up. And as if the contrast between lively Tidus and composed Auron wasn't enough to draw us in, the metal banger playing the whole time really makes us feel like the world's about to end. And best of all, the successive battles really serve to put us on the same playing field as Tidus. We've never held a sword before, and neither has he. Iconic in its own right, this entire section also features as a playable demo before the game's official release. No wonder the sales were so high. A staple of the series since Final Fantasy III, summoning magic has become more and more involved with each entry. Originally powerful spells with no bearing on the lore, every appearance nonetheless adds something new to each world. FF8 summons underpin the battle system and affect the narrative minutely, while FF9 introduces them into the story in a much fuller way. 10 goes that step further by letting you fully control summons in battle, and having their relevance to the story be of utmost importance. Yuna's connection with her Aeons is highlighted at multiple points during the story, but she's not the only one who shares a bond with them. We meet many summoners on our travels, some of them with their own unique Aeons. In battle, being able to control each Aeon's actions is the first time we really get to be these incredible beasts, elevating them beyond magical nukes to something more personal. They even react when attacked, making them just as much a part of the party as the humans. And after hours spent on the road with them, saying goodbye at the game's climax is that much more emotional. Usually the idea of an underworld brings to mind horror, eternal darkness, trapped souls, Kate Beckinsale. Spira's afterlife spins the concept on its head. While still bleak, the area itself is brightly lit with colourful fireflies that make it not as dreary as it otherwise could be. Most impressive of all is an area dedicated to the dead that the living can visit without detriment, a rarity in any mythos. Within the Farplane, we finally get to look at the lives of the supporting cast, who otherwise wouldn't be able to share their stories with us. It's here we finally see the elusive shade of Chappu, and learn that Sin and Jecht are one in the same. Not coming in, Auron? Possibly the most fantastical area in an already heavily fantasy-based game, to us it feels a double-edged blade. Sure, we get to see our loved ones again, but are they even real? The very real themes of loss and perseverance aren't new to Final Fantasy, but their importance to X's story makes the Farplane that much more poignant. Chances are, when you think of one of FF10's brilliant cutscenes, you're going to think of the sending at Kilika. Its emotional impact is rivaled only by stunning visuals and musical frisson, and watching the spirits of those who lost their lives to Sin be sent is hauntingly brilliant even decades later. Other than our sudden introduction to Spira, this is the first time we really see Sin in action. The attack itself is jarring and how unprovoked and violent it is, and the narrative doesn't shy away for a second from the aftermath of such brutality. The richly coloured world and gorgeous scenes don't stop being beautiful, but from this moment on they are almost tainted by the reality of what Spira continues to live through, and suddenly watching feats of magic doesn't seem so outlandish. As one of the first proper locations we visit, Kilika left us feeling uneasy for not knowing when or where the next attack could occur, and guilty for not being able to stop it from happening. But its early occurrence means we're fully on board with Yuna's decision to be the next High Summoner. Well, before we fully understood what that meant anyway. A story told across generations. We have a member of the Old Guard with us the entire time. The stoic Auron once travelled with both Tidus and Yuna's fathers as they travel to defeat Sin 10 years prior. Both follow in the footsteps of those that came before, despite their misgivings. Tidus, of course, wants to be nothing like Jecht, and though Yuna has resigned herself to an early grave, she clearly doesn't want that ending for herself. Destiny is fated to repeat itself over and over, and Sin will always return. Or will it? After many battles, tears, and dips in the local lake, the party makes their choice and decides to say a resounding screw this to the path they've been walking thus far. Faced with her namesake and a terrible choice, Yuna rejects the philosophy of the final Aeon, promising to find another way to defeat Sin once and for all. and at Auron's urging, we defeat inevitability for good. A brilliant scene in its own right, the twist that Auron has been guiding the party along this path from the very beginning made us go from liking him to loving him. Isn't it amazing what happens when a man puts his own ego and desire to be right behind the will and needs of those under his protection? As an outsider, the perspective Tidus has of Spira is radically different from those he finds within, even the Albed, who have been ostracized from the rest of civilization. Possibly the biggest disconnect between his experience and everyone else's is how he views Jecht, considered here a hero, but who Tidus knows as both an absent and abusive figure. Spira's history has been nothing but the same actions taken again and again, and it would be all too easy for Tidus to end up just like his father. His decision to face Jecht in the belly of the beast is as magnanimous as it is gratifying, and with the opening song playing as we battle him once and for all, we really feel like we're doing the right thing. The whole experience is topped off nicely with Tidus finally getting to say what he always wanted to. I hate you, Dad. Eat your heart out, Pinocchio. We're taking down this whale. Wonder if that makes Tidus a real boy. Wait, hang on. By no means the first game to deal with a world of limited communication, or even heavily promoted propaganda, where FF7 and 8 convey their oppression in a modern setting, Spira opts for a more fantasy-based method of getting its news across. Though the Church of Yevon is in power and what they say goes, it's the faith that have shaped the world. The first hint that what they say is true comes when Tidus realizes this strange new world knows and adores his father for reasons wholly unrelated to his legendary blitzball skills. Throughout his journey, we discover recording spheres that act like journals, and in them proof that Jecht really was the man Spira said he was. This of course leads Tidus to realise decisively that people are free to make up their own minds, and his past doesn't negate Jecht's heroic deeds. And the climax of this decision comes when Yuna records her own eulogy within a sphere of her own. Rather than watch her walk to certain doom, Tidus tells her it's up to them to decide what they want to do, and that no one else's opinion matters. This is, after all, our story. So that was it for our 7 reasons Final Fantasy X is great. What are your favourite moments? We'd love to hear in the comments. If you're interested in more Final Fantasy discussion, check out our podcast link below. Thanks for watching and see you next time.